Michael Olise.
The real reason why the world has become so obsessed with Michael Olise isn't because of how phenomenal he is at football. It's because he actually mastered one of the rarest psychological traits that is left in the modern world. You first gotta understand that we live in a culture and a society we are a part of, a world where everyone is trying so hard to feel important, to be seen, to go viral, to prove how interesting and unique they are. And then someone like Michael Olise comes along, and he does the complete opposite. When it comes to Olise, there are countless of moments that he provides brilliance, whether it's a world-class goal or an assist, and the stadium explodes. And yet, when it comes to Olise, he's reacting like it's just another training session. And what you need to understand is he's not trying to act cool. The reason why it's so magnetizing is because that's genuinely who he is. And what most people fail to understand when it comes to the science behind aura or presence, like Olise for example, they think it's the nonchalantness or silence. But it's not. Not only for Olise, but for everyone else who just has that magnetic aura. It is authenticity, where if someone like Olise, silence is the tool that highlights and showcases the authenticity.
Lima, now half-time sub Olise, who has shone since coming on. It's Olise. Olise!
And this is why so many individuals just flat out look dumb. Because as human beings, we can just smell performance. We can smell when someone is trying to be nonchalant, trying to be mysterious, trying to be authentic. Like, what does that even mean, trying to be authentic? People have authenticity in their bios. What does that even mean? And that is why it loses its magic, because we can smell that. Real authenticity never announces itself. I want you to think about the sun for an example. It does not rise every morning trying to convince the world that it is bright. It simply shines, and the convincing is left up to everyone else. And that is what you need to understand, because us human beings, we work the same way. The psychologist actually studied the science behind coolness, or aura, and presence. And what they found was the biggest component to coolness is simply autonomy. And what that means is simply, as human beings, we tend to gravitate and admire those who aren't constantly looking around to gain validation or approval to be themselves. And what you need to understand when it comes to Olise and all those individuals that just have that aura that separates them from the 99% is they don't go against the grain or try to look mysterious, or to go against the grain. Someone like Olise, he still shows up, he still puts in the work, he still respects the game, he still honors the craft, but what he refuses to do is put on a performance for the cameras. And that is what the psychologist called bounded autonomy, right? You simply master the rules that matter and ignore the rules that don't apply. Master your craft and ignore the performance, ignore the noise. The second and most important thing you need to understand when it comes to aura, or just having a magnetizing presence, is it's not created when you intentionally try. When you intentionally try to come off as unique, mysterious, nonchalant, authentic. When you put authenticity in your bio or entrepreneur under your handle. No, aura is actually created when you generally reach an internal state of needing less. Less approval, less recognition, less attention, and less validation. I mean, think about confidence. We all know usually the loudest person in the room who's walking out with their chest out usually isn't the most confident. They are trying to be perceived and gain your attention as a confident person, where real confidence doesn't need you as a witness. And that is the psychology behind why the footballing world has become so obsessed with Michael Olise. It's not because the world knows him, but it's because the world doesn't know him. And our brain hates an unfinished story, so it leaves it up to our imagination to finish the story for us. And the truth is, any individual can embody that presence, that aura, without the money, without the followers, without the cars, without the lifestyle. They just simply need to provide space and distance, because nowadays, everyone is sharing everything.
Yeah, you lot subscribe to the channel. Obviously, I'm saying this for free will. No one's forcing me. There's a lot of good content on there, so subscribe to the channel.